I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, October the 11th. I'm very happy to say that. Woo!
Oh, better.
Oh, man. They say if you're not feeling great, just smile for like a minute, and it changes the way your central nervous system wires. And I'm here to tell you that is nonsense. But you know what? We got a job to do, and by God, we're going to do it. Let's lean in. It's time for your top five at 6. Oh, the Minnesota Lynx? You mean the team who's leading in the WNBA Finals? Okay, game 1 last night in Brooklyn against the New York Liberty, and the Lynx win in overtime. That's a great headline.
Yeah.
They were down 18 in the second quarter. They were down by 13 with only a few minutes on the clock. This is probably one of the great comebacks in the history of this league. I'm sorry, there was a 15-point Liberty lead with 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
15 points in 5 minutes. In the history of professional basketball, that's an enormous comeback. In the WNBA, the greatest ever, especially for a playoff game. And, man, there were so many great highlights. At the end of regulation, I believe we have Nafisha Collier hitting a turnaround that put this bad boy into OT.
Oh, man.
I said Collier. She hit the one in overtime. That was at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
That was Courtney Williams. She hit a three-pointer and was fouled. Got a 1-point lead with just a few seconds on the clock. The Liberty come down, hit one of 2 free throws. It goes to overtime, and then the rest was history. An amazing win, a hugely exciting time for the Lynx. And hey, man, let's keep our foot on their throats, Lynx.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say, really.
Let's drag a championship trophy home. Why not? I mean, that gets you excited. I was just kind of looking at the score last night, watching the Wild. No, I don't have Bally's. Don't look at me like that, Ryder. I had to go somewhere to watch it. But anyway, so I was just checking the score.
Yeah.
Not nearly as exciting as that guy made it sound.
No, not at all.
But I'm watching the highlights with you right before the show started, and I'm like, I'm going to have to check out some Lynx basketball.
Anytime you see a team on the road in the finals come back like that, you just got to root for them. And that was a pretty exciting first game of the series.
Clutch plays, one after another.
Number 4 in your top 5 at 6. We talk about how oftentimes we feel like we're paid to go to the bathroom. How many bathroom breaks on the clock do you take? As many as you can, generally speaking, unless, of course, you live in Switzerland. A Swiss court has ruled companies are allowed to make their workers clock out for bathroom breaks.
What the hell?
What is happening in those bathrooms where they felt the need to do this?
What's happening in Switzerland? My God.
I mean, how much chocolate are these people eating?
Chocolate and cheese. There's a lot of dairy over there. Yeah. Lactose catches up with all of us sooner or later.
The Swiss luxury watch brand Singer changed its policy and told workers, hey, if you're going to the bathroom, you got to clock out first. Labor inspectors said, hey, this is illegal. It went to the courts, and the courts said, no, I'm sorry. It's not illegal. Swiss labor laws have all sorts of information about bathrooms and how clean they have to be, but there was nothing on the books about workers having the right to go while they're being paid.
Yeah.
And so right now, the court was like, hey, it's a basic need. Lawmakers say this is a loophole. It's going to probably get fixed at some point. But right now, if you got any friends working at a watch factory in Switzerland, just tell them to bring a bag to work.
Right, exactly. Imagine those people that don't like to go at work and they have to dash home. They're losing a lot of pay.
A lot of pay.
I heard in Japan they have a thing from someone that goes over there for work that I used to know a while back where a little alarm goes off. You're allowed so much time in the stall before it's back to work, buddy. Oh. Yeah, I know.
Who sets that alarm for?
I don't know, man. But it seems like, that culture, they get things done. Mm-hmm. So I suppose the Swiss are wound as tight.
What if they had someone sitting outside the bathroom going, you're done?
Oh, you know what? I'd be eating the stinkiest food I could find.
Yeah, really.
A lot of cheese curds and beer.
You want to be a part of this procedure? Feel free. And here we go.
Make it loud.
Pull the ripcord. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. Oh, that's right. The Minnesota Wild did play last night, the season opener. And how about a 3-2 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Yeah, I forgot Coach Evison was now with the Blue Jackets until the game started last night. What the hell? They just move them around like CEOs, don't they? Mm-hmm. You blew it at this team. Why don't you try and run this company into the ground? Good win. Here we go. Season's underway.
I mean, You could do a lot worse than a home win to start the season. We're 1-0. How many teams can say that? Well, probably about half the teams.
Yeah. Well, Boldy scored, X scored, the Lions. I don't think Capriel. No, who's the other scorer? I can't remember. I'm not looking at the box score now, and I did doze off.
Erickson Eck.
Yeah, he scored.
Yep.
Boldy, and there was one other one.
Oh, let's see. It was. That's right. It was him. Anyway, number 2 on your top 5 and 6. Coming back to Minnesota, Krispy Kreme.
All right.
Oh, the Double K donut heaven coming back. They're going to take over the former CVS pharmacy on University Avenue in Fridley. Fridley going to get some friendly donuts.
I mean, that's a good thing, right? I mean, we like it. Here's the thing. When Krispy Kreme came in, Dunkin' was the deal in town. You had a couple of specialty donut shops, but since then, I mean, man, there's some damn good donut shops, mom and pop shops around town.
Having spent years in the South, Krispy Kreme is just ubiquitous. That's what that is. Dunkin' is like the zebra muscle of the South. It's like, what the hell? What are you going to Dunkin' for?
Right.
But to see this now, I'm not going to probably go to Krispy Kreme that often, but I like knowing it's out there.
Yep, me too.
That's how I see that.
I love that option.
Good morning to our friends in Victoria, Minnesota.
What time does Floyd's open? Now, you talk about a Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah.
Right? Now,
is that the one?
Might even throw a crawfish in there for you.
Oh, right.
They do. They're known for their big crawfish.
That's
what do they
an
call
honest-to-God Bloody Mary.
They'll bring you out a platter the size of a toilet seat. That didn't sound very appetizing. Just loaded with. That's their thing down there. But Floyd's great patio as well, and a good time in Victoria. Just reminding me, I have not been there in a while.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 6. Cue the cannons. Let's light some fireworks. The Pohlads are selling the Twins, ladies and gentlemen.
Not in my lifetime did I think I would.
Man.
Yeah.
Carl Pohlad spent $44 million 40 years ago in 1984.
Yeah.
He will be cashing in. Well, he won't be. His sons will be cashing in about $1.5 billion for the Twins right now. I mean, Baltimore sold last year for 1.7. The Twins, I would think, have got to be worth as much as, if not more than the Orioles. But conservative estimates, $1.5 billion for the Twins. Whoever's got it. Whoever's got that money, I'm assuming that they will do their best to sell it to some local ties. I mean, obviously you want some Twins fans to take over the team.
I mean, it's the Pohlads. They're going to sell, it's buy low, sell high kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's not spend too much money on the team. And I was looking for that guy that went on strike. He's got to be ecstatic, isn't he?
Not the guy
who got booted. The protested.
The guy who said defund the Pohlads was banned for next season. He's back in that ballpark with the new. He'll be in the owner's box next year, whoever that new owner is. That's a great point. I was thinking about this. Like the Pohlads have said, they're going to do what they did, which is they're going to find the right people to take the team. It's like when I was selling a house once, and it was a seller's market. Feeding frenzy. We had multiple offers, and a young family wanted to buy our house, and they wrote me a letter. They were like, "Our daughter, we can vision our kids here. This is the dream house." It was like a real appeal, and I was like, "That is so beautiful." What's the highest offer? All right, take that one. End of story. Right. It's exactly how that works. Well, hey, what you got?
No. I just said I won't begrudge them that. But
no, not at all.
It would be nice to see whoever is going to come in is going to want to spend some money. I think.
Let's hope
and get a winner going.
In Florida, they are dancing in the streets, and by dancing, I mean fishing. Hang tight. Steve Gorman, this is the KQ Morning Show for Friday, October the 11th. Good morning, Brian Zepp.
Oh, I'm not really. I was just sitting here jamming out to that infectious beat.
Oh, isn't that the groove of the century right there?
I mean, it is. I get a little weird in here.
Sorry to say it's the 20th century, but
I'll start singing along and look up and go, oh, that's the guy that wrote the book about the band.
Oh, literally and figuratively. What are you going to do? Florida, our friends in Florida are really struggling, as I'm sure we all know, with Milton on the heels of Helene, the two hurricanes in 2 weeks. It's an absolutely brutal time down there. Want to play you a little piece of a local news story from Orlando. With all, and of course we're very concerned about what's going on, and we don't mean to make light of anything, but as you'll hear, you gotta take it when you can get it.
People right now across the state dealing with some serious loss. It's been a rough go, but every now and then when we're doing these
hurricane coverage. I mean, bright spots are big. Moments of a little levity really go a long way.
Yeah, and those tend to come from those who are hurricane veterans. They know the drill, and they've roughed it out before, and they take it all on the chin. News 6's Donovan Myrie found a couple of those gentlemen out on Edgewater Drive in College Park.
We're fishing in the middle of the road. We are on Edgewater Avenue in College Park. Dude, you got a fish. I saw you. You just caught that fish.
I did. Honestly, it's tradition now. Hurricane Ian, same exact thing happened.
So you basically, and there's a guy coming behind us in a lawnmower.
That's America if I've ever seen it.
So
That's America if I've ever seen it.
People fishing in the road. We've got a guy on a lawnmower. You doing all right?
He's
doing all right. Yeah.
He gets a thumbs up from the guy.
A nice residential street, nice looking neighborhood, but they're in knee-deep water still in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And this dude is holding up how big is that fish?
I'm going to say 3-pound largemouth bass. I mean, that's a nice bass. Bigger. I mean, I'd freaking take a whole bunch of pictures with that fish. That's a beauty.
And as they're doing the live report, as you heard, a guy comes by on a riding lawnmower. It's a pretty big one. It's like one of those, looks like a Yazoo or one of those big, it's for like a field, not your front yard necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just big enough to get over the water, so that's how he's getting by.
Right.
And he just drives by at 3 miles an hour, waves, doesn't stop, talk to the newsman. And it is one of those moments where, like the anchor said, any moment of levity in a minute at a time like this, you just want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and Floridians, like I said, we're built for this. We see a lot more devastation and death in places like North Carolina. You mentioned it's not supposed to flood in the mountains. This happens to Florida. It's a bad thing. 38 tornadoes.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that with a hurricane popping up there in the East Coast. But they'll roll with it and they'll put it all back together. And these guys, young guys out there fishing in the street, I'm sure Floridians grew up there. I know I've got some guys out there thinking, a bass? Zep, did you lose your mind? This wasn't on the coast. This was an Orlando television station. This was one of their big lakes there that, overflew.
Overflew just a bit.
Flewed.
No report on what the raccoon population in Florida is going through, but I can tell you what's happening in Washington State. A woman in Washington State called the police last week. She said, I got a problem. I'm looking out here, and my house is surrounded by, that's right, raccoons. Here's a little piece of a news clip from this situation.
She felt that the raccoons were threatening. This is something you don't see every day.
35 years ago, you first started feeding some raccoons, and then when all of a sudden did it explode like this?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
They were shocked. They had never seen that many raccoons in one place.
I've had several raccoons in the yard recently. My dogs have gotten in a scuffle several times with raccoons. I even had to take one of my dogs to the vet after tussling with a raccoon.
Oh boy, I mean, what can you possibly do about this?
To recap, this woman said, I've been feeding raccoons in my yard for 35 years.
Right.
35 years. But she said they always just come in 1 or 2 at a time. And then about 6 weeks ago, all of a sudden, over 100 just in her yard. And she said they surrounded her house. They come at her between the car and the front door. She's being charged by raccoons demanding food. And then the neighbors, of course, now have raccoon spillage into their properties. You're not kidding. That's what they make weaponry for.
Well, word got around finally. So packs of them are showing, hey, free eats.
I've been telling you for 35 years, Cheez-Its are awesome.
Little raccoon jamboree. What if we all hit this place at once, don't feed the wildlife. Don't do that.
This is me looking into my future because my husband loves to feed the critters. So it's he buys critter food. So it's squirrels and chipmunks and bunnies all over the yard. Like, this is how I'm going to die. It's the tiny little creatures it won't be cancer. It's not going to be a heart attack. It's going to be the little animals when we stop feeding them in 30 years.
I don't know if this makes you feel any better, Ryder, but when that happens, it will be the lead story on this show.
Oh, my God.
Excuse me while I cough it up there.
I have a cousin who's been feeding squirrels for years and chipmunks. They love salty food, so he just goes out, sits in the backyard with salted peanuts, and he throws them near the squirrels, and then they eat it, and then they're like, well, that guy threw that thing, and then within a couple days they're coming eating them right out of his hand.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, what are you doing? That's a rat with a pretty tail.
And they're going to want more at some point.
That's all they want is more and more and more.
His mom never scared him with the rabies shots. It's going to be a needle this long.
That's right.
inches long in your gut every day.
Do 6 of them.
Yeah.
This woman with the 100 or plus raccoons, she said, I've tried to have them removed. She called one specialist who said it's $500 per capture.
What?
Per raccoon?
You know what?
To trap and relocate a raccoon, it's $500. My math tells me she's 50,000 short of having this problem cleared away.
Why don't you give me a call? You can fly me out there, put me up at a pretty nice hotel, and I'll make you a deal, and you're still going to save money on getting rid of those coons, and we'll get rid of every one of them.
Man, I had a buddy who also one time had a what am I trying to say? Groundhog.
Groundhog.
Yeah.
Thank you. Which
Woodchuck?
Is also, thank you. I was going to say a ground chuck. He had ground chuck, and we'd put it on the grill, and it was awesome. No, he had one woodchuck, and he set up a trap, found it, and of course drove several miles away. Just did this himself. Drove it like 5 miles away.
Yep.
And as far as he can tell, the exact same woodchuck was back like a week later.
Bastard.
And he was like, man, the guy just, and then he had to bring in the professionals, and they were like, you got to take this thing way farther away.
Alaska.
They come right back to where they've been digging.
Yeah, they probably did. We're going to take this out to a woodchuck sanctuary. I remember that. They trapped some squirrels around our apartment building, the one I mentioned yesterday there in Oak Grove over by Loring Park. And they were taking them away, and my daughter, where are they taking them? They take them to a squirrel refuge up near Cambridge, Minnesota. She's like, oh, that's wonderful. And the guy's looking at me, shaking his head no. I'm like, dude, just get out of here.
Squirrel refuge or a burlap sack and a bridge over a body of water. That's a squirrel sanctuary.
Off the Stone Arch.
Goodness gracious. You can find the KQ Morning Show podcast anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. Sponsored by our dear friends at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. It's time for a look back. Sports and music history. Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Take the money and run, Steve Miller Band. The drum track. A spectacular drummer, Gary Malaber, in the Steve Miller Band. It's his birthday today. How about that?
Oh, all right.
I mean, it's just the kind of thing that for some damn reason I know in the back of my head. Right. I can't think of that guy's name half the time, but it's 10:11, and I'm like, oh, that's that drummer in Steve Miller's birthday. And I just Googled it, and damn sure it was. What's wrong with me?
I didn't even know he had a drummer in the band.
What's that?
What'd you get him?
Well, I just got him that shout out right there.
Nice.
Clip that, put it on an MP3 file, and we'll send it to him.
Okay.
Hey, Gary, thinking of you. Actually, just a great drummer and an iconic drum track, to say the very least. The Joker sequel is out this weekend. Anybody interested in seeing this movie?
Oh, well, not after the reviews. I mean, I'm not a big review guy. In fact, the movies I tend to like best are the ones that get poor reviews. Right. But this one's in the toilet, flushed. It already hit the sewer system. This one's already out in the river, headed for the ocean.
Tony, are you going to let the critics take you off this ledge, or are you going to go?
Yeah, it looks kind of bizarre. It looks kind of creepy. They're trying too hard to be odd. I'll wait for it to go on the small screen.
Thoughts on Joker 1, the first Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie? Did we see that and like it?
Yeah, I liked it. Slow. Yeah, I like a little action.
Ryder, are we just old men here, or what did the younger what are you, a millennial?
Oh,
what did you think of it?
I'm probably going to sound even older than you guys here. I haven't actually seen the first Joker. It is sitting, Blu-ray is sitting right by the TV at home that the husband and I are going to watch at some point.
It's on the laser disc at home.
Wow. This is going to make me sound even older. The movie that's coming out today that I'm really stoked about is the SNL movie. You guys know about this?
Yeah, that's right.
That actually looks really good.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was waiting for the Joker laugh.
I don't. What Joker laugh are you talking
about? That's really unsettling. The movie is. Oh my God! Here we go.
What a great show!
Only 4 more minutes of this left.
If you are planning to see the movie, to your points up, I will just say I tend to not really care about critics, but when it's just so universally crushed.
Yeah, right.
And man, people are, and I don't know if it's diminished expectations or if it's just literally that. It seems like they hit gold the first time around, and then they really tried to double and triple down, and maybe just went a little too down the weird poop shoot with this one. But if you are going to the movie, it's never a bad thing to remind ourselves as as we head to the theater, just don't be a jerk. There are things we all have to do, and I've said this before. I have a lot of movie theater pet peeves because I grew up going to the movies and it was a big deal always. Didn't matter if I'd already seen the movie. Didn't matter if I didn't know what it was going to be. I was a kid who loved to just step into a new universe for 90 minutes or 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
More so than a lot of my friends. I mean, I always thought, there's something wrong with me. I really get into this a little bit too much. But that's still the case. When I go to a movie, if I do truly step away and if I can turn my brain off and just be in a dark theater watching a great film, there's nothing better. I mean, I really love it until somebody comes down the aisle after the movie start and goes, excuse me, let me get my seat. Anything that takes me out of my bubble universe, out of my fantasy world. The people who are making noise with their concessions, it is a... I mean, I'd rather chew foil quietly than listen to you try to open your Raisinets box.
Yeah. I agree. I think popcorn can be too loud. I think everyone should have so much butter on their popcorn that's just a soft mush.
It's pudding.
Yeah, you just drink it. Put your wiener in it.
In fact, just drink melted butter. Forget the popcorn. Yeah. Just salt some melted butter.
There you go.
Because that's what it feels like when you leave. Your esophagus is like, was there anything to that, or was it just salty butter? What just happened? I have seen on several. I see people talk about this stuff, and you'll always see a tweet or a post on Facebook, and it's someone like, I can't believe someone brought a baby to a movie theater. And every time I ever see that, I think, you got to be kidding me. This is a thing, and apparently it's more common than you would otherwise imagine. Someone thinks, oh, this is the baby's nap time. It's a good time to see a movie.
I would throw that baby against the wall.
Okay.
I mean, that's just...
I would applaud you for throwing the baby against the wall.
Thank you. And Ryder would be there with the slow clap. And she'd have a cool little laugh going.
Not to be... Oh my God! To be fair, the most of the walls in theaters are padded. They've got that sound baffling.
Yes. Right.
It's a soft concussive smack, if you will. Right. But this is the one that I have trouble with. Here's like people say like this is the most important thing. If someone else is making noise, if you're upset, don't confront them yourself. Go get an usher. Don't start a fight. That's worse than the actual initial infraction. Sorry, I can't not. I will talk to people. I have looked a man right in the eye and I said, "You owe me $9.50. Pay up." And he's like, "What?" I said, "You've ruined my movie. Pay me back for my ticket." And then, of course, 19 other people shushing me. And I'm like, no, this is on him. He's talking. Pay me back for my ticket. The guy's like, "I can't believe you're doing this." I'm like, it's done. We're out. Here we go. Let's have it. And then, of course, an usher came and yelled at me. Didn't throw me out, though. I just sat back down.
At a movie with my teenage daughter, with a teenage lady sitting directly in front of me on her very bright phone, texting. During the movie, and I started to lean forward, and Taylor puts her hand on my shoulder. Dad,
there.
And I'm like, okay,
yep.
It's just probably maybe something, mom checking in or something. Who knows? Continues. I'm like, all right, this is enough. This is a bright light right in front of my face, and I lean forward and I start reading her text. And she's texting a boy that wants her to come over after the movie. And I just whispered, I said, "He only wants to sleep with you. He's not interested in you as a girlfriend." And she got up and got the usher and got me kicked out.
What?
Yeah, got me kicked out. Yeah, for being, just for, oh my God, he blah, 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 blah.
Well, it's called being a creeper.
That was being a creeper.
Would have been easier to just tell her to stop texting.
It would have been easier, but a lot less fun. By the way, the movie sucked. Review. And the guy did just want to sleep with her.
Yeah, of
course.
He
wasn't interested in her.
No. I guarantee you that guy never knew what color her eyes were.
No.
If he was interested, he would have been at the movie with her. So
Thank
that's totally
you,
right.
Yeah. Bingo.
What was the movie?
I have no idea. But if I was there with my teenage daughter, it was because she wanted to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As a kid, loving movies as I did, I, along with everyone else who's ever lived, was always discouraged when you start to have your first relationships. You're starting to explore, make out sessions,
sure.
and then how far is this going to lead, and where are we going to go? And I'll just come clean with my first girlfriend, where we were involved in these sort of things. I had movie scenes in my head as we would be progressing down the list,
well, sure.
because that's all you had. There was not porn available.
Mom and Dad didn't walk you through it?
Nobody sat me down and had a conversation. And I'm literally thinking like, well, this is going to be like that scene in what was the Lessons, the movie where the French teacher and the ninth grade boy, Private Lessons. You know, or I saw The Other Side of Midnight on HBO at my friend's house, and this is what they did. And then
Porky's or something like that.
Even to the point, yes. And then of course Animal House and every one of those. But I'm just saying, you have a limited basis of imagery and thoughts on what is supposed to happen. I did in ninth grade see the movie 10 in a movie theater with my parents.
That blows my mind.
The worst 2 hours of my life. But a whole lot of what I thought sex or even things leading to sex were came from watching that movie.
Blake Edwards.
Bad news, because there's orgy scenes, and then there's all sorts of there's just people doing things that you can't do until you've had a ton of sex.
Were your parents enjoying the movie?
They were laughing hysterically. They thought it was hilarious, and which blew my mind that Mr. and Mrs. John C. Catholic were laughing at this movie of just depravity. And then it really blew my mind that they brought their ninth grade son with them on a Friday night to see it. But I mean, all I'm saying is I'm getting back to the idea of we've all had those moments where the stuff you see in films, forget porn. I'm just talking about in movies.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No,
it's not. It doesn't work. The idea that I actually tried to make out in a hammock once, I still look back and go, yeah, that wasn't meant to be at all.
The shower scenes suck in real life. Yeah,
forget it.
I'm getting cold. Why are you getting all the water? Now you're getting cold.
Yeah,
I slipped. Everything's the lubricant gets washed away.
I feel like the reason. Okay, now sometimes you'll see like these really nice showers where the shower space is like the size of an elevator. Yeah. And you have water coming out of the walls and the ceiling from it. That's simply because people are like, this isn't like in the movies. I'm cold and there's not enough room. And so some people at like Kohler are like, we need to build bigger showers with way more water sources coming out.
I hope that's what they had in mind.
Simply for that. But the shower and the hammock, both completely impossible. Not to mention the all-time American classic, car sex.
I know.
I mean,
it didn't stop us, but
I'm 6'3" now. Even as a kid, I was, I'm just taller, and if you're not dating a little person, you're gonna have problems at my height in the back of a Datsun 210. Doesn't work.
You need to take out the old Chevy Caprice Classic,
Man,
on
no
a block
kidding.
long or something.
But the car thing always a bit of a letdown. And for that matter, anything you're doing anywhere, it's just never as good as what you think it is based on the movies and TV shows you're watching.
True that.
Waterbed, never didn't have that one on the checklist.
I mean, I hung on to the waterbed far too long. I had a waterbed into the 2000s.
Seriously?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, no
Not
baffles.
comfortable.
No, I didn't want the baffles, the new crazy baffles that made it feel more like a mattress. I just wanted just a big balloon of water, a water balloon.
That's what it is.
Just in a cardboard box, basically. And it was ridiculous. I used to love to jump in and just toss people off the side of the bed. But yeah, the sex was ridiculous. It was like a balancing act,
Way too much physicality involved.
Yeah, right.
I mean, for something that's a physical pursuit, it's like, I didn't mean like this. I didn't know I had to go into like Iron Man training to make this all as cool as it looks in the movies.
I'm pretty sure one of my kids was conceived in a waterbed, so you can get the job done.
Okay, fair enough. Chanhassen, good morning. Chanhassen, Minnesota.
Yeah, Chanhassen, the old theater down there. Every weekend I think about a weekend I went down there once. No, I took my parents down there. What's it called? The Chanhassen Dinner Theater.
Chanhassen Dinner Theater.
That's what my mom and dad loved to do. And Dad, of all people, would surprise me. This was a Charles Bronson, John Wayne movie kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And he'd come up, we're going to the Chanhassen. Is it a musical? Oklahoma, anything playing? He liked those Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
I was in a bunch as a kid. Local theater group. Yeah. Come on, man. I was killing on those Rodgers and Hammerstein bad boys. The craziest decision I'm aware of adults ever making was they took our local theater group to a state penitentiary to perform for the inmates, and it was called. It wasn't a whole play. It was called Stories and Songs. It was like greatest hits from a series of Rodgers and Hammerstein plays. Okay. And so you had The Sound of Music, you had Fiddler on the Roof, and you had Oklahoma. And we are in state penitentiary. I'm in 8th grade, and there's people that are all the way. My mom and everybody everybody in between me and, there's just adults, kids, everybody. It's a local community theater group. And we get on stage and we do the section where we talk about what's going on. This is Oklahoma, and it's set in 18 whatever, and this happens, and Curly is this guy, and here's Ado Annie, and you give the context, and then you perform a song or two. Yeah. And in this, again, state penitentiary, poor little sweet Betsy Mundy walked out there as Ado Annie and sang the song, I'm Just a Girl Who Can't Say No.
Yep, that's just what I thought of.
In a state penitentiary. Did I mention it was in a state penitentiary?
Good call.
A couple of cat calls coming from the audience.
And these guys are on their best behavior. All the inmates in the gym know that you have to earn your right to come see this performance. So they're not going to do anything terrible, but they were all seated quietly, and then they weren't.
Yeah.
She sang one line of that song. I'm just a girl who can't say no. They all jumped to their feet. It literally, the guards all ran and they would not sit. The whole thing stopped, and I'm on the side of the stage going, I think this is bad. and everyone's fine. It all ended okay. We all got home in one piece. But there was a few moments there where it was truly terrifying.
All right. I love it. That's a learning experience there.
It is a learning experience. Thinking of learning experience, and speaking of things that aren't quite the way they're all cracked up to be, let's just keep it going. That threesome you're thinking, probably best to avoid it. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
My wife the other day, she's looking out of the front lawn. She goes, man, we have a buttload of squirrels on our front lawn. I still don't know how many squirrels she saw. Maybe I'm unique. I think for me, a buttload of squirrels would only be one. No, that is a full buttload. Just one. Tiny. Angry. Confused little squirrel.
Tim Slagle right there. A very funny man, a good friend of the show for many years. Tim's going to be with us in about 2 hours, 9:25. We'll catch up with Tim. He's got a great gig going over at Acme all weekend, and I look forward to catching up with him. Elsewhere on the show, we've been discussing things that people do in movies or TV shows that looks pretty spicy, sexual things, and then you get into the real world and go, this doesn't really make me feel good at all. I mentioned waterbeds, and then Zep, you said, hey, you're fairly certain that one of your children was conceived in a waterbed.
Pretty sure, yeah.
That's kind of a nice thing. Connie texted in 651-989-ROCK. My husband still sleeps in a waterbed. Bought it in 1980 when I graduated from beauty school. I replaced the heater once and the mattress twice. He said he couldn't sleep on anything but a waterbed. By the way, it's a waveless mattress.
No kidding. Yeah.
I thought the whole point was that it just bounced you around like you were on the waves.
No, that was the thing. I tried that for a little while, and I said baffles in there, but there are like baffles in there, and so it's waveless. It's more like a traditional mattress. I think it was when waterbeds were starting that people were figuring out, hey, this isn't a great way to get a good night's sleep. Yeah, right. So they're like, we'll make it like more like a regular mattress, and then the whole thing just went.
It just went kablooey.
Yeah.
651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. Here's another one. I'm not going to attach a name to this. I'll say it. As a guy, the reverse cowgirl. I'm not done.
Yeah.
Feeling like my dingus is going to snap.
Yeah.
Dingus.
Because the angle just ain't working, not so nice. Got me doing the Pythagorean theorem in bed to figure out the ideal angle to set my hips so that I don't end up with another broken dongle. Yeah. Dingus and dongle in one text.
Said another broken. That means it's happened before.
Apparently so.
There is a point where your wiener will pop like a knuckle. You'll just feel a little pop, and the reverse cowgirl is a great way to do it. You've got to do some crunches with it. When she gives. Here's the thing with the reverse cowgirl is the gal really seems to enjoy it, and when they're really enjoying themselves, not that fake enjoying that we get away with so many times, but when they're really enjoying themselves, hold on, you got to move with her a little bit, because it's she didn't go all the way that way.
I'm fascinated by this. It pops like a knuckle situation.
Happens, where you actually feel and kind of hear a little pop in there.
I'm glad to know that that's yet never happened. I mean, I'm not, I guess it still could. Oh,
You need to snap it back into place.
Maybe it was my knuckle, now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah, it very well could be. Here's another one. Sex on the beach. Do you know why they call sandpaper sandpaper? That's a pretty good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that I didn't think of. It's just not quite what you expect it to be.
Romantic.
The best in the movies, was it Top Secret or Airplane? One of those movies where the couple they're reenacting the old From Here to Eternity. The couple laying on it was Airplane.
Was it Naked Gun or Airplane?
It was definitely Airplane.
It was Airplane where the water washes over them, but then they're covered in seaweed.
Yes.
And then there's like a fish gulping for air on the sand.
And a crab in there.
Yeah, that's kind of what that feels like. That's very, very indicative of what's really going on. And then another one here on the list, it says threesomes are, in my experience, disappointing and fraught with jealousy.
Yeah, tricky.
Really?
Real tricky. Here's the thing. Threesomes, I think, work in the rock star world. I mean, I think, and when I say rock star world, I mean, if you're, say, going to Vegas with a bunch of listeners. In other words, it's just sort of a couple of people want to everybody just wants to jump in bed and have a little fun. But a lot of times, it's a couple trying to spice things up. And there is no way for a couple to invite a third person into bed, everyone to get their cookie, as it were, and then feel good about it. The guy's going to get jealous. The woman's feelings are going to be hurt.
Sure.
If it's another woman, because she wants to know someone, she's like, well, I have this friend I've always kind of wanted to fool around with, or I did fool around with. That's cool. Then your feelings are hurt. And if you do the devil's threesome, where you bring another man into your bed with your woman, let me tell you, I don't care how sexually confident you think you are.
Yeah, right.
You're going to take it to your grave.
Oh,
especially if she makes a noise that she doesn't make when she's with you.
Or if his name is Adonis.
Yeah.
Anybody ever tell you that you look like Fabio? Look like. I am. A study out of the University of New Brunswick in Canada is talking to college kids about this very subject, threesomes. A lot of people like the idea of getting it on. In fact, college kids are apparently more open to it than people in any other generation, which makes sense because college kids are open to anything on paper.
Yeah.
However, only 13% said they had ever done it. Most of them say, I'm actually too scared to try.
Right.
Sometimes, it's important to go with your animal instinct and let fear guide you.
There's a reason.
If you got a little weird feeling crossing that parking deck at night looking for the staircase, listen to it. Don't do it. Go back to your car where it's safe. And to your point, Zep, men in this survey really preferred the idea of a threesome with two women over having another man involved. That's just as basic as it gets.
Yep. But in that scenario, they often just don't need you. You just find yourself on the couch watching, making an old-fashioned, I heard. I read in Maxim magazine. Is that still around?
Maxim.
I don't know.
I don't know if it is.
Speaking of old-fashioned, the key to a successful good old-fashioned threesome is to have old-fashions by the dozen.
Yeah.
Women strongly preferred the idea of that third person being someone they actually knew and not a stranger. Men said they were fine either way, which I don't think is true. I think men would absolutely prefer it not be someone they know, because then you can just siphon off, put up the walls of denial and say it was awesome, and then you don't have to see the person again, and then wonder for the rest of your life, did they like it? Were they what was happening? I mean, that's just
got a lot of hang-ups.
Yeah, that's it's funny. I mean, I'll be the first to say, never experienced this in my life, and truly never thought about pursuing it for all these reasons. I just thought, I'm not evolved enough, if that's the word, or I'm not rudimentary enough, if that's the word, to get out of this in one piece. It's just, I would just be really, really, really focused on all the wrong things, probably.
I think it's just you have a great self-awareness, and it probably guided you very well.
Like I say, when my central nervous system just lights up and it's like, bad idea, I do tend to listen.
And you know what a threesome I think really works? As a fantasy in your head. And you keep it there.
Yeah, no.
When you need it.
Well, I'm batting 1,000 in that league. Well, don't kid yourself. That's working for me every time. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ talk and text line. Like we said, that was a text. Someone said, in my experience, disappointing and fraught with jealousy. I can only imagine the jealousy thing would just be absolutely abysmal in my mind. Here's another one. Someone texted in, holding someone up against the wall while having sex. It's not cute when trying to hold someone up and putting most of your energy into that and less on the sex itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one where you're holding them too. It just gets so nuts. All of a sudden you're out of bed and you're holding. They're like the cradle, and it's just yeah. All right,
even dudes who have no problem like picking you up off the ground and twisting you around above that. Once it's sexy time, those muscles all go away. They're concentrating on something else. Like the balancing just isn't there anymore.
I could say I did have one memorable experience in that situation where the girl I was with she was not necessarily large, but she was not small. She was just an average size gal.
Okay.
And she made a comment which was, "You make me feel like I'm just tiny when you pick me up." And then of course that was like, well, wait, hold on. That didn't. What she was saying was.
Don't stop to think, Steve.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the cheerleader on top of the pyramid, and I was like, "No, you're a base. I mean, you're not. You're attractive, but no, you're down low." And now we've got to take a break so I can recalibrate. I gotta start over.
Well, good thing she didn't call you tiny.
Man, no kidding. Like, just hose me with just put the hose on me next time, like I do with the dogs. If you want to end this that quickly. That was a strange one, I will admit. A little unexpected. Right. But I did at the time. I went straight to the cheerleader analogy in my head. The whole thing. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Thinking and sex clash.
Yeah, it's like 1988, and it's still right there, fresh as a daisy in my head. Wow, that was a strange one. Another text came in. By the way, now that we're getting on the waterbed tip, waterbeds are the best. Had mine for 46 years.
There you go.
Well, okay, if you don't have to, if you can hang on to that bed for that long, then I should rethink this. I replace a mattress, it seems like every 5 years. It's probably every 10.
Yeah.
I'm old enough where I can't remember 5 years from 10 years, but
right.
It's one of those things. But 651-989 Rock is the KQ Talking text line. As long as we're bearing our souls and ripping open our sexual history. Let's just move on to the next really uncomfortable thing, the body count. Is it important? Do you have to know? Because I read a thing the other day. It said most people these days, they never ask. It's not important to know your partner's body count. It's better to just keep those things quiet. Do you have those conversations in a new relationships ever back in the day? I never did. I never thought to ask.
Yeah, first relationships, and I'm not talking about like first girlfriend as a teenager or something like that, but the first serious relationship in my 20s, ended up marrying that woman, and it was for some reason it just sort of came up, and I thought it was fun until she told me the number.
Yeah,
and and
was it higher or lower than yours?
No, I think it was probably a little bit lower than mine, but it needed to be much lower than mine. I mean, it's kind of like. Again, I don't think you think you're sexually secure. You think you can hang with the, emotional, emotionally with a woman, but you can't, and you won't. And it bugged me. And I was that stereotypical guy that after the conversation ended, where it should have stayed, the next day. So when you so you said now the number you gave me, and it went on for weeks and drove her crazy, and I was terribly insecure with the whole thing, so I put that behind me. I know when somebody asked me, I just make up a number.
Yeah, I didn't.
4.
No, I just. If someone asked me, I'd say, well, hang on, what 694? If you can. Well, hang on, it's 694 or 695, depending on your definition of. I can't remember the last time anybody asked me anything close to this, but I do know I did date a girl once, and she didn't want to talk about body count, but she did have this thing where she would say, well, what about the first time you ever did anything? Tell me about that. Like, she got very turned on to discuss like first time situations, which that was fine. That was kind of fun.
Sure.
And then when I what about yours? And then I did find myself wishing I hadn't asked.
Yeah.
Because, boy, she really wanted to lay that on the table. And it was kind of like getting a little weird after a while. And I was like, okay. But these things happen. Tony, who's on the horn right now? Who wants to share some of their most intimate details with us?
Boy, yeah. Jeff from Bloomington has an interesting confession.
Well,
Jeff, good morning, Jeff.
He must have chickened out on telling us because he's not on the phone anymore.
So this is Jeff from Bloomington.
Well, actually, he led with and he said he enjoyed watching other men have sex with his wife. And, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll put that on.
All right. Yeah, I'm at a bar one night doing an appearance, and I stuck around afterwards, and I'm drinking by myself at the bar. And a dude comes over, and he says, hey, man, how's it going? Not too bad. He goes, that's my wife. And he points to his wife down the bar. And a very attractive woman. He goes, she would like to sleep with you. So this is how this works. You follow us to our house. She goes in the house. Then you go in. I'll come in at some point. I like to watch, but you won't ever know that I'm there. And I'm like, really? What?
You're like, can we stop at Dairy Queen first?
Right? And I look again at her, and she kind of, that curt smile. I'm like, oh, she's really attractive. And I was at that age, very single. Yeah. And I thought, yeah, I think I can make this happen. And as I'm following them home, I just took a left.
There you go. There you go.
I just pushed out.
I was hoping you were going to say, and then I started thinking, this guy looks familiar. It was Richard Gere. I was waiting for the big twist.
I just it kept running through the scenario in my head, and something in my gut said, Zep, take a left.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
See, again, listen to the central nervous system. Yeah. That was a good decision.
Yeah, I just don't want to be watched by someone who said they weren't going to be like the watching thing. I was like, all right. I did say something at one point. I was like, well, can I just do it with her, and then you can come home? He's like, no, I got to watch. I got to be there. Them's the rules. And
if you hadn't taken that left turn, I would have come to Minneapolis almost 2 years ago, and there would have been a plaque with your photo on the wall. Brian Zepp, he was one of the best. Never knew what happened to him. He did it. He was at a bar. He was doing an appearance, and then got in his car, and he was never seen again.
Should have taken a left.
Man, do you know they had a well dug into the floor of that basement?
No kidding.
Put some lotion on, Brian.
Equally as flattered.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Wow, man, that is a really. That's actually astounding that happened, that some guy came over and just gave you the pitch. And man, I've never had anything even close to that one. Hey, guess what? The Minnesota Wild, who are 1-0, they got the best record in the entire league, ladies and gentlemen, after last night's win. They got the Seattle Kraken coming in tomorrow, and we got tickets, and we're going to give them away, so hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, October the 11th. Good morning. The Minnesota Wild are playing the Seattle Kraken tomorrow night, and we've got tickets, and we want to give them away. Right now, I need callers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK to play for tickets. 651-989-ROCK. We'll take callers 9 and 2. We will lock you in. You will play a game. You will be at the mercy of the creative, twisted genius that is Tony Lee. And we'll give those tickets away to somebody. I guarantee you that much.
Yeah, and then the Wild go on the road for the rest of the season, I think.
Weird. It's weird.
It's like 7 games.
A 2-game homestand, and then see you later.
Yeah, right.
But, hey, you know what? The Wild right now, in case you're just waking up, leading the league.
They're hot.
1-0. Best record in all of professional hockey, the Minnesota Wild. And the Seattle Kraken tomorrow. I'm looking forward to giving these tickets away. In the meantime, hey, how about a quick shout-out, Zep, to South Minneapolis?
Oh, yeah. I inhabited South Minneapolis for many years. Good times, always. Sure. Great dive bars. Sensational neighborhoods, and oddly enough, just some of the best damn garage sales in the spring you'll ever run into.
Is that true?
Loved me some garage sale action in South Minnie back in the day. But yeah, fond memories of South Minneapolis.
I'm not anywhere near the haggler I wish I were. Yeah. I would love to be better at it. I go for they say one thing, I say another, they say another thing, and I go, okay. Yeah. I know people that will just haggle. It's like when I go play blackjack, I'm not trying to win. I'm just enjoying the process.
Yeah.
And I know people that haggle like that. They just love the back and forth.
Yeah.
And they don't even really want the stuff. They just want to see if I can get that guy down to 70 cents or not. Right. That's not me.
I bought a futon frame. It was $4. They wanted $4 for the old futon frame. And my futon frame was broken.
Yeah.
I thought, $4, great. I had a $5 on me. And I laid the $5 there, and I'm like, we're good. And she digs in her bag. She goes, we're not good.
Oh, my God.
She goes, here's $1 back. You suck at this. I would have let it go for $3. I'm like,
right.
But I got it for $4. I mean, I would have let it $5 or whatever. But yeah, I suck at that too.
All right. Well, then I got a new plan for the spring. You and I are going to go haggle in South Minneapolis. We'll hit a couple dive bars, and then we'll hit a couple of garage sales.
God, that sounds like a good time.
It really does sound like a good time. Not as good as a time as you'll have at the Minnesota Wild. Again, the best record in the league. I mean, this is an exciting. It was a good start. I mean, it beats not winning. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
so,
the people that should have been scoring were scoring. I mean, Kaprizov didn't get one. But, I mean, yeah, they looked pretty solid. They got after it. I only got about a period and a half in before I dozed off and, and had to wander into the bedroom. And I listened to it a little bit as I fell asleep. But, there you go. Gus the bus. Stopped some shots.
I tell you what, it bears repeating, I think, that when I first got to town, January of 23, one of the first things we did was we all went to see a game. Yeah. And it was against the Nashville Predators. I moved here from Nashville. So I'd been to a lot of Predators games. And the Predators fans, it's loud, it's crazy at those games, right?
Yeah.
It's they have everything, every bell and whistle, and people go and you have a blast. But I can't say they understand the game quite as well as the Minnesota crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just
not sure when to cheer.
They know when to cheer, but you never hear people up here say things like, "So what's icing again?" And you will hear that in a game. And no disrespect to the Nashville fan base. This is a great team. We made they were in the finals one year in 2017.
Absolutely.
It was a really exciting time, and it really is a blast. But it was so apparent just right off the bat when I went to my first Wild game here. I was like, man, these people know them some hockey. It was great.
Yeah.
I've been to a bunch of those games. It's an absolute blast. Like you said, we're very lucky here. We got the box. We can sit in the attacking zone for the first and third. It's a great time.
Yeah, the Excel, a great place, a great venue over there to watch hockey. And I guess I haven't really bounced around and watched hockey, professional hockey, many places, but I can't think of a finer place than the Excel.
It's awesome. Kraken are in tomorrow night. We got a couple people that are really interested in playing for some tickets. Tony, who do we have?
Boy, we got a real good response, and this is what we're going to subject these fine individuals to.
Puck. The KQ Morning Show presents...
How do you spell that name?
How do you spell
that name?
How do you spell
that name?
Hockey.
Spelling bee.
Hockey.
Spelling bee. Hockey. Spelling bee.
Yeah, how the puck do you spell that name is what was said earlier.
Goodness.
Hockey spelling bee with Wild tickets at stake. We're going to get all state of hockey on you and turn up the heat because this is a spelling bee, baby. We're going to toss in a few Wild players, a few North Stars, and throw in a couple of all-timers as well. So let's play Hockey Spelling Bee.
Oh, this is going to be brutal.
Yeah, it
I'll
could
be
be
playing along and feeling real dumb.
When in doubt, leave the vowel out.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, this is great. So, Tony, who have we got ready to play?
First up is Donna from White Bear Lake.
Donna, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're great, thanks. Donna, give me your favorite band.
Well, it's always going to be the Beatles.
Always. And no one's going to try to talk you off that hill. Who's your favorite team,
That's
any
it.
sport?
Well, you know what? We got 2 undefeateds here. It's going to be tough, and we're playing for hockey tickets. I got season tickets to the Vikings and the Wild are 1-0. So, okay, today the Wild are my favorite team.
Good
How's
answer.
that?
We'll take it. The Beatles and the Wild. Can't poke a hole in either theory right now. Tony, who we're going to go back and forth with this. So who's caller number 2?
Right, the next one is another Tony from Savage.
Tony, good morning.
Good morning.
Tony, give me your favorite band.
Tom Petty.
That'll work. Give me your favorite team, any sport.
Minnesota Wild.
Attaboy. All right, 2 Wild fans playing for Wild and hacking tickets. Let's do it. Tony's going to take you guys through how the puck do you spell that, and I wish you both the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, you 2 crazy kids, what we're just going to do is present to you a name of a player, and you go ahead and spell it. Try and spell it correctly. All right, first up is Donna. And number 1 is, we're going to start off with kind of a softball. This is Tom Reed. Tom Reed.
Reed. Tom Reed. I'm going to say, well, do I have to spell first and last or just last?
Just the last name, right, Tone?
Really? Well,
Yeah.
Oh, you want the whole name?
I do. I would like that.
Tony wants both names, Donna.
Give me both.
Okay, you said Tom, so it's Tom, and Reed, I believe, is R-E-I-D.
Oh, sorry, you left off the R-E-I-D.
I said R-E-I-D.
Oh, I thought she just said R-I-D. Okay, sorry about that.
No, got it.
Oh, for God's sakes, Donna, pardona me.
Man.
Right there in the neon as you cruise down 7th, yeah.
Man, that Tony just got called for icing on that one. Let's bring it back.
In the box.
I'll try to speak slower.
That's cool. Thanks, Donna.
All good, Donna. All right.
All right, Tone, yours is Bill Goldsworthy.
Bill Goldworthy, Goldworthy.
Oh, so close. He left off the S. Goldsworthy.
You want Goldworthy.
Ah, cripes.
It's like that James Bond film, Gold's Finger.
Gotcha.
All right. That's all right. You'll get back on that horse in a minute. It's time for
All right.
Donna, round 2.
Yeah, this is not going to be easy. Second one for you, Donna. Willie Plett.
Willie Plett. W-I-L-L-I-E. Willie. Plett. I'm going to say P-L-E-T-T.
Sorry, there's no E on Willie. It's weird, a W-I-L-L-I.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
it's bizarre.
I got the last name right, though, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Anthony,
Yeah.
number 2
Yes.
is Gump Worsley. Gump Worsley.
Man.
Gump Worsley?
Sure. Goalie for the North Stars.
Gump, G-U-M-P, Worsley, W-O-R-S-L-E-Y.
Right, sir. Love it.
When did he play?
Man.
Oh, back in, wasn't it the
Black
70s?
and white days?
Yeah.
It was.
Jeez.
I mean, that was a while back.
Tony.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did.
All right, we're tied up.
Right on.
He's keeping score.
Pulled that right out of the gump hat. Well done.
All right, Donna, maybe you've heard of this fella, Lou Nanny.
Lou Nanny. Now, this one I should know. L-O-U, Nanny, N-A-N-N-I.
Oh, it's an E, not an I. Lou Nanny. Nanny.
It's what?
It's an E, not an I at the end. Yeah.
Oh, it's N-A-N-N-E. Okay.
Yeah.
I've not seen his name very often, so sorry.
Okay.
Well,
don't apologize.
I instead of E, except after Nan.
Tonio,
Exactly.
your number
That
3.
I-
Oh, should be kind of easy. Bobby Smith.
Bobby Smith, B-O-B-B-Y-S-M-I-T-H.
Attaboy.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
Fastball
That
right
nose
down the
as
middle.
wide as his
2
head.
scores.
All right, ready for this, Donna? Miko Koivu.
I'm out.
Nico Cruyff.
Miko Koivu.
Just like it sounds.
Yeah, right. Nico. M-I-C-O.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Koivu would have gotten me anyway.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
I get that.
Miko.
Was that the last name? Did I get that wrong too?
M-I-K-K-O-K-O-I-V-U. That's a tough one, Miko Koivu.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. How come I got the hard one? He got a Smith.
No, you got
She's got a point.
I'm trying to mix it up. All right. Here's Tony's, though. Marion Gabarick. Marion Gabarick.
Marion Gaborit?
Gabarick.
How pronounce it one more time?
Marion Gabarick.
All right, Marion, M-A-R-I-A-N, Gabelick, G-A-B-E-L-I-C-K.
No, sorry.
Pronunciation is key in this one, yeah.
No idea.
All right. Oh,
You got to spell it out, Tone. Come on. Don't leave me waiting.
M-A-R-I-A-N-G-A-B-O-R-I-K.
Okay.
Like on Sesame Street.
Lovac.
Fair enough.
Wow.
All right.
All right, Donna. Jared Spurgeon.
Jared Spurgeon. Jared. Oh man, that's the hard part. I know I have the Spurgeon part. I'm going to say J-E-R. O-D.
Sorry.
There's 2 R's, isn't there?
No.
But Tony, you sound depressed.
I know.
This is.
She has a point.
Game.
I've got Spurgeon too.
R-D-E-O-N. I have that part.
Yeah, right. But you know the last names. The first names are tricky these days. Everyone spells Jared differently.
Yeah.
A-R-E-D?
Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Hey, Tony.
Yes.
Kirill Kaprizov.
Kirill Kaprizov. Oh, shoot, that's a hard one. Yeah. Kirill is K-A-R-I. Already wrong?
Yes.
Was it already...
Try Kaprizov.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
I'll butcher that if you want me to, but...
K-I-R-I-L-L-K-A-P-R-I-Z-O-V. Of course.
Kirill. I've said it a million times, but I think I would have screwed that one up.
It's tough. Donna, this is a little easier for you. Matt Boldy.
M-A-T-T. B-O-L-D-Y.
Nice.
Donna. Off
That's
the
a score.
schneid. Yeah, off the schneid, Donna.
All right.
Well played.
Just a few more.
Jeez.
Tony Brock Faber.
Brock, what's the last name?
Faber.
Faber.
Okay.
Faber. Brock Faber. B-R-O-C-K-F-A-B-R-E.
Nope.
Oh, no.
E-R.
You went Farver.
Faber.
Faber.
Yeah. Knowledge is good.
Right.
Faber College.
Faber College, yeah.
You each have 2 more, and that's that. Donna, Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr. B-O-B-B-Y. Orr is O-R-R.
Nice.
She got it.
Bang.
Woo!
Tony, you have Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe.
Gordie Howe. G-O-R-D-Y. E-Y, isn't it?
Man.
Yeah.
It's E-I.
That eats a double pump there, yeah. Yeah, you could go either way, but no.
Gordie All right, your last one, both of yous. Donna, Mario Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux. Got to get the Canadians in there, don't you? Okay, Mario. M-A-R-I-O. And Lemieux. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to say it's L-E-M-E-A-U-X.
So close. L-E-M-I-E-U-X. Lemieux.
That's a tough
I-E-U. Oh, man.
All right, Tony. Tony, this one for a tie. You need this one.
Go, Tone. Yep. Go, Tone. Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin.
I was waiting for the Eastern Europeans.
Ovechkin?
Ovechkin.
Well, you said it
Oh,
right.
Jesus. Have fun at the game. Have fun at the game, Donna.
Oh, come on.
Tony.
All right, I'm going to try it. Alex Ovechkin. A-L-E-X-O-V-E-C-K-E-N.
Sorry.
So close.
Yo, so
you
close.
were on your way.
O-V-E-C-H-K-I-N. Ovechkin.
Tony, solid effort, my man. This was a gauntlet.
Ooh,
My goodness.
I was holding my breath there for a while.
Yeah, this is an uncomfortable one. Donna, 3 out of however many is enough for the win today.
Yippee!
You got your wild tickets. Yippee, yay, indeed.
Enjoy the suite, yeah.
You got it. Right now, the Wild, as we mentioned, are 1-0. The stat line, very impressive. Let's talk about some other stats. Let's talk about some cheating stats. Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Man, it's good that some of the stuff we say during the music isn't carried out over the airwaves. You wouldn't believe the stuff we get into.
Oh, enjoying the Northern Lights pictures being sent to us by some of our good friends out west of town. Man, were they spectacular last night. I didn't see them. Trapped in Golden Valley. Yeah, Kansas City.
By the way,
but yeah, some of the
didn't
best I've
see
ever
them.
seen.
Rosemary and I made an effort, as in got in the car and just took a road trip to
Did you?
find the Northern Lights and struck out.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a drag. We were over St. Paul Way, and then I'm like, well, let's go eat. Well, let's just go over to, you cross the bridge to Wisconsin. It's really dark over there.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to go, you can never see him in Wisconsin, you idiot. But I figured, I'm looking at people on Facebook posting photos from Ohio and Kentucky and Tennessee and Pennsylvania. And I'm like, well, they'll be in Wisconsin. And we just drove. We were like, oh, hell, it's 20 minutes. We're in the middle of nowhere, pitch black. And I'm just looking at nothing.
Oh, that's too bad.
Just a cloud over Wisconsin, 365.
Yeah, it really was. Thanks for nothing, Badger State.
Yeah. Well, the ones I've seen from the west side of town over there at Loose Line Orchard, Terracenters, and I may have been the most glorious Northern Light pictures I've ever seen. We've all seen lots of them, but these are spectacular.
The ones that really are mind-blowing that I was looking at last night as I was, drowning my sorrows in my salty tears of not seeing them. Over the UK and Ireland, boy, if you just want to get on the old, look at Twitter or whatever, they look fake. I mean, they're so vivid, and everybody that's posting them is like, there's no filter. This is literally what it looks like.
Well, that's what you wonder these days because there's so many photo filters and enhancements. But but I know Terry doesn't know how to use any of that crap, so he's got to be real,
One of these days, I've seen the Northern Lights on a few occasions. My wife has never seen them. I mean, like ever, and she's just like, by God, one of these days. And I was really hoping it was going to be last night.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Well, they'll come back around here before too long, I
guess. The quest continues to get that woman to see these Northern Lights. And I know she'll love it. Rosemary is a woman who loves to just look at the stars. She'll stare at the ocean. She likes the big stuff. She likes to just zone out. And I was like, man, if I could just get her to see these Northern Lights, then we could stop talking about it.
Tense ride home.
Oh, man. We were okay. We shook it off. We did okay. You know what we did? We stopped and got a little strawberry shortcake at the gas station.
Oh,
a little ice
perfect.
cream. That make you feel better.
Gas station shortcake.
It's like a Thursday night at 9:15. I'm in rural Wisconsin. A little ice cream will help.
Yeah.
Hey, we tried. We gave it a good shot.
Yes, sir.
So check this out. Touchy subject, of course, in life, as we've been doing all morning. Speaking about touchy subjects, my God, we've been talking about all kinds of things. A lengthy study has revealed infidelity statistics in 2024 here in the United States of America. Women's infidelity rate since 1990 is up 40%. The girls are getting out on their own. Way, way more than they were 34 years ago. 30% of cheaters say they cheated on their spouse with someone from work.
Yeah,
I can see it.
The familiarity with someone, and they listen every once in a while. He listens.
The work goggles, I think they say.
Yeah, there's that for sure.
I always think about that. I've had jobs where I worked with women that after a while you just find yourself feeling attracted, and then you see them out, and you're like, what? Right. It's that context. It's like when you see a lot of I think about it like during the Olympics or tennis. I mean, guys, I'm talking about. I can't speak for the women's experience, but I've had this conversation with guys where you're like, man, have you seen that new tennis player? Did you see that gymnast? And you just think of the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. Then when you see them in street clothes, you would never look at them twice. And it's just, you're impressed with what they're doing, and it leads to another thing. That's familiarity, whatever it is. And with work, you see someone every day, you get to know them. And especially if you're not initially attracted to someone, what happens? Well, you're more yourself. They're more themselves. You're getting to know the real person. You're not so self-conscious, so you're more comfortable around them. And in a guy's case anyway, if you're comfortable around somebody, that's half the battle. If you're not thinking about, I got to say the right thing. Yeah. I got to make sure my gut's pulled in or what. If you're just being yourself, suddenly you're like, I'm really attracted to this girl.
Right.
She makes me feel good.
And there's shared dramas that you experience.
And I don't think it's a stereotype to say that women get a little, probably into affairs or cheating maybe a bit more for that emotional thing that they might not get. And that it can easily start at work. Harder to find that, cruise in the bars or the online hookup sites and that sort of thing, where the guys would, probably gravitate to more easily those discreet hookup sites, wherever those are.
There's also emotional cheating, which is to say you're not hopping in the sack, but you are opening up. In a 77% of men and 91% of women confess to what they call emotional cheating.
That doesn't even seem like a real thing. Yeah, it just seems like you're friends with somebody of the opposite sex, and we're blowing things way out of proportion.
All right, thank you. The voice of reason here. That, and I know a lot of guys in long-term relationships that would give that one. Oh, you want to go somewhere else and talk about your emotions with someone else? Go right ahead. Just, keep your pink parts away from him.
I do know this. Your neighbor, who's a hedge fund guy, don't leave your wife alone with him. And I'll tell you why. People in finance, including bankers and brokers, the most likely to have affairs.
Oh, really?
Yes. How about that?
Rachel's a financial advisor. Great news.
Tony, we've called you here today to have a very difficult conversation with you.
Rachel, would you come in, please?
So 9 careers where people are most likely to have affairs. Finance, number 1. Number 2, this sounds like something from a bad 70s TV movie.
Yeah.
Aviation, including pilots and flight attendants.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, you're scooting around from city to city. You got a day or two layover.
Yeah. That seems like a crime of opportunity.
Yeah, you got pilots and flight attendants and all sorts of opportunity.
I would have thought that that just phased itself out, but then obviously it makes perfect sense the way you're saying it. Yeah. You're just doing you're in a grueling, 8-hour, 12-hour shift. You're in 8 different cities, and then like you said, you always see those flight crews bouncing off the plane and heading out to get into a van, all to go to the same hotel.
Right.
It's kind of like the aviation industry is saying, I tell you what, if we take all the pilots and all the flight attendants and we force them to sleep in the same building, we'll have some in-house drama, and that'll be good for, man.
Those handsome uniforms.
This is an unexpected one, I guess. Healthcare, doctors and nurses, very likely. But then again, you're in very intense situations.
Right. Yeah.
You're like every day. It's like you're Sandra Bullock and Keanu in Speed. You know what I mean? You're saving lives. You've got someone's literal life in your hands. You're going through that thing, and then you find yourself at the end of the day, and you've made it through, and you wash your hands for 20 seconds, sing "Happy Birthday" 4 times, and you're like, "You look pretty good to me."
Yeah,
I can see it.
Having hung out with some nurses, I will tell you that they'll say that. They'll say, "Oh yeah, it's everybody's. It's like a college fraternity meets college sorority party. It's just everybody's going at it," and they have that gallows humor. But they talk about that that what you're seeing is so intense, and what you're going through is so intense and can be traumatic that you release it physically.
Wow.
Okay, sounds good. Didn't you ever watch Grey's Anatomy, man?
Never seen one episode.
I'm surprised. I saw the other day it's still on. I'm like, new episodes? But
forever.
I'm sure they're banging each other in that show.
Number 4 on the list, business, including managers and administrative assistants. Now, that's like Mad Men stuff right there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's old school.
I mean, what else are managers doing?
Sports, that includes athletes and coaches, the world of sport. That goes back to your point. You got people in their physical prime. You just, like they say, the Olympic Village, or any high-level athletic pursuit. You've just got people at the peak of their powers.
Yeah.
Usually in their 20s.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
Just can't wait to take their clothes off and show other people what they look like.
The arts, that includes musicians and photographers.
Huh?
Photographers?
Musicians?
Wait a minute. I'm not a musician. I'm a drummer, damn it.
Yeah.
Nightlife, that includes bartenders and DJs.
Oh, we're getting very close to covering everyone here.
Pretty much. They're casting a wide net.
Left the farmers out of it so far.
I know you've been wondering. Here comes number 8, communications, including journalists and PR people. Well, I mean, if you
high
say
divorce
so.
rate in broadcasting.
Then finally, legal. Lawyers, paralegals, the legal profession.
Sure.
I've seen a couple episodes of Suits. It looked like there was some office flirting going on there, a little back and forth. Yeah. Man, I think that's weird. I mean, I get that the job you choose could put you in a situation where you're more likely, but at the same time, I was talking to somebody the other day about this, and they said, being in a rock star band, all these guys in bands, you were in a band for years. I mean, it's just got to be everywhere. And the truth is, it's like, no, it's not. I don't think it depends on the person. You can take a person and put them in any setting, and if they know who they are and if they're comfortable with who they are, they're not going to change just because they can.
Yeah.
That's generally what I have found. I mean, I know dogs who are, work at banks, and I know guys in bands that have toured for decades, way longer than I did, that are just the most straight arrow dudes you ever met. It's just who you are.
Yeah, I agree. I've got a pretty good collection of friends that we come from all walks of life, and either that's who you are or not. Sometimes you can be in a relationship that's so screwed up you don't feel like you can get out of it. You're in it for the kids. There's monetary considerations, and you stray in that way. But either you're wired that way or you're not, I guess.
Yeah. And it has everything to do with your life experiences before you got to the place where people just assume, oh, his life started when I first heard of him.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's really not how that works at all. So there's a lot going on before that.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's what people, we would hope people can still not lose complete sight of that as it goes. Hey, here's some good news. The Scorpions, 60 years of being Germany's greatest rock and roll export. The Scorpions are returning to Las Vegas. The residency called Coming Home to Las Vegas, 60 years of the Scorpions. It opens February 27th at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. You can score a trip for two with round-trip air, a 2-night stay, tickets to opening night, and more. What you got to do right now? Text the national keyword LIGHTS, as in Northern Lights, to 95819 for a chance to win. How about the top 5 at 9? Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show on 92 KQRS.
30 years, that's how long I've been doing this. I can't do anything else. Because I now have a gap in my resume. The exact same length as a very serious prison sentence. 30 years. That's like murder one with a bad lawyer.
Tell me about it. Tim Slagle right there. He's at Acme all weekend. He's going to be here with us in about 30 minutes. A very funny gentleman. It is Friday, October the 11th, and you're listening to a whole bunch of people who've been serving a long sentence at these various rackets of ours. Yeah, the resumes aren't what they... We all know people whose resumes are sparkling, and we're not those people.
No, I remember in 17 when I was given an opportunity to try something else, and I thought, oh, that's it. I've been doing radio for like 20-some years. I'm going to try something. I'm going to do something else. And I sat around for about a month and went, no, I cannot qualify for that. Oh, you need a college education for a lot of things. No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard work. And okay, back to radio I go.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Oh, looking around the world thinking, well, as any member of my band, it's not just me, thought for decades, this band's going to break up any day now. It was like that for 27 years. This is probably the end of the road here. And then looking around, I'm like, well, I can BS with the best of them. I like when I go sit in on other people's radio shows, and that was as far as I got. I was like, okay, I can try to fake that for a little bit. Yeah, once you do something, once you got a couple decades at one thing, it's hard to go, maybe I'll just try something totally different. Sounds great.
Yeah.
But that's for other people to do.
I did look around for some rich widows for a while.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought maybe I could work that angle.
Sugar daddy.
Turns out, they're looking for younger studs.
Younger studs.
Younger men and studs.
Wow, man.
So I couldn't crack that nut either.
What do they say? It's just as easy to fall in love with a rich guy as it is a poor guy, I guess. I never didn't think about that myself. I actually, that is my one master plan. I said from day one, by God, I'm going to marry an electrician's daughter. And you're damn straight I did. All right, let's get to it. Your top 5 at 6 for Friday, October the 11th. What a ball game in New York City last night. The Minnesota Lynx have a 1-0 lead in the WNBA Finals. That's exciting enough on its own, but this was an incredible night as with 5 minutes on the clock, the Liberty had a 15-point lead. The Minnesota Lynx made up a 15-point gap in 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, and they absolutely are in the driver's seat now. Not only a win on the road for Game 1, but a gut punch kind of win. A game that the New York Liberty would have taken care of 99 times out of 100, but they didn't. And as much as you can say that's just going to motivate them all the more, that's going to play in their heads all the more, too. If they find themselves with a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, who's going to be sweating it more, the Liberty or the Lynx? It's going to be the Liberty.
Sounded pretty damn exciting. This is what got them to overtime.
McBride with 13 seconds left. Williams poised. Can't hit. Rebound Smith. Another chance for Minnesota. Williams connects. Plus the foul. A chance for 4 and a play that may live forever in WNBA history.
That tied the game with 5 seconds. The free throw is a 4-point play, a foul on a three-pointer. The free throw gave the Lynx a 1-point lead, which they then gave right back because Brianna Stewart of the New York Liberties, she's a bit of a, in this, she played at UConn. She won 4 straight titles. Yeah. She's a big deal. She got fouled and went to the free throw line and missed her second free throw that would have won the game. Ooh. And then missed the layup to win it in overtime. So Brianna Stewart, she's in a bad mood today. Yeah. These things happen. You know who else is in a bad mood today? Number 4 in your top 5 and 6. Anybody who wants to take a leak at work in Switzerland. Oh, man, are they in a bad mood. A Swiss court has ruled companies are allowed to make their workers clock out for bathroom breaks. Oh, okay.
I mean, just when you're getting ready to get a good bitch about your work day going, like, you know what they're doing around here? You hear this crap and go, all right, I guess we haven't gone off that edge yet.
You're doing great work there on the watch, Hans. And just a reminder, if you want to go urinate, you have to punch out.
What if I take the batch of chocolate into the can with me and mix while I piss?
See? Yeah, really.
Can I stay on the
Are you telling me that the people who are responsible for the world's greatest chocolate and watches actually have a time clock? like the cartoon, the sheepdog and the wolf. Are they punching morning Fred? Morning. Are they really punching a clock out, in and out?
A very elaborate, ornate clock.
Man, I tell you what, it's very, very antiquated, but at the same time, kind of charming to think about.
It is.
I was doing the chocolate with the almonds today, and I punched out twice because I had to pee. I was so excited to have the almonds again. Number 3 in our top 5 and 6, the Minnesota Wild have the best record in the National Hockey League. They are 1-0 after last night's season-opening win at home over the Columbus Blue Jackets, a 3-2 victory against their former coach. It's good to see the team reminding Evanson that we don't need you, dude.
Yeah, right.
Keep on walking.
That's a sweet win. I didn't even know he had gone over there, but until I started watching the game last night. But yeah, it's going to be one of those. I love watching this team. They don't have as much firepower as a lot of the teams that are going to put up big points this season, but it's a fun team to watch, and the people that should have watched, by the way, Zuccarello was the one I forgot about. It was Boldy, Eriksson Ek, and Zuccarello with the goals last night. So go Wild.
The Wild and the Blue Jackets, they came into the league together as expansion teams in the year 2000.
That's right.
46 combined seasons. These two teams have won 5 playoff series. Total.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, Blue Jackets haven't been in the playoffs in years.
4 of those were by the Wild. Columbus has won 1 playoff series in their history. Yowza. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. Americans apparently are losing about 3 days a month to digital content over consumption, such as just basic social media streaming and scrolling. Technology is a wonderful thing. It makes our lives easier and it can be more productive, but for a lot of us, it turns out to be the bane of our existence. We're talking 2 hours every day, 36 days a year that people look back and say, I lost it to things I don't remember, streaming and binging, rabbit holes on Instagram and YouTube, and you look up at the end of that afternoon and you're like, I don't know what I just saw. It was fascinating. I mean, I said this before. I got into a dash cam traffic accident feed on Instagram once and sat there I watched car crashes for like 90 minutes.
Yeah. It's easy to fall into that,
and
isn't it?
looked up and thought, what is wrong with me?
Forget it back. We used to use that time constructively watching TV.
Right, exactly. You know what? You knew there's nothing. The commercials are here, and I have no choice but to sit through them.
Yeah, right.
Whereas you can vouch for this. Before the show started this morning, I'm looking at Lynx highlights on ESPN, and before every highlight, there's a 10-second commercial, and I'm bitching about it. I'm like, for every time, I have to watch this vodka ad every time I want to see a highlight.
I once said out loud, the longest 4 seconds of my life is the 4 seconds before you can skip the ad. Now, now it's up to 15. That was the early days of YouTube when they gave you the 4-3 to skip. Come on. You're just clicking on the button.
I remember thinking it was a ripoff that there was $1 surcharge to put a card into a machine and get cash back. Think about that. One day you had to go to the bank and write a check or do a deposit slip, and the next day you could just go punch some numbers and put a thing in and get cash.
Yeah.
And I was like, they charge me $1 every time that I just want to make my life that much easier.
I'm waiting for the 3D printer to print out some 20s for me.
There you go. On a tour bus in like the 90s, or maybe it was 2000, or I mean, it's at least 25 years ago. One time, like cruising across Montana, watching a Richard Dawson Family Feud era marathon on Game Show Network. Everyone just stoned to the gills. And we'd go under a bridge, and the signal would go out for the 1.5 seconds while you're passing under an overpass, and we're complaining about it.
Everyone's groaning.
And at some point, someone goes, we're literally in the middle of nowhere, and we're watching Richard Dawson kiss all these women, and we're all laughing, and you're upset because it goes black for a second? I'm like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I want everything, and I want it all right now the way I want it, and I don't know how I want it until I don't get what I want, and then I know what I want.
Ain't that America?
Something so wrong with us.
You and me.
Good morning, Dayton. Dayton, we're going to give you a quick shout out.
Bucolic, Dayton. That's beautiful up there, you know. Wish I could afford one of those ranches. They're nice. One of those big spreads up there. But, love me, Dayton.
If you got $2, little Mega Millions tonight, go get yourself a Dayton play card.
I'm going to make that $3.
Make it
and
$3.
Double my money.
That's right. There you go. That's a plan for you. Number 1 on your top 5 at 9. Hey, Minnesota Twins fans, the waiting is over. The Pohlad family has decided, we overreacted when we told that guy that had the defund the Pohlad sign. They banned him from next season at Target Field. And they said, we overreacted. I tell you what, we'll sell the team and let that guy come back.
Christmas came early this year.
I'm making that part up, but it's true. The Pohlad family announced Thursday they are, quote, exploring a sale of the Minnesota Twins. A very nicely written statement about how much the Twins have been a part of their family's heart and soul. 40 years after months of thoughtful consideration, we reached a decision to sell the Twins. Okay, you can say you had thoughtful conversation. I think when a team from Baltimore sells for $1.7 billion, a team from Minnesota goes, that's good numbers.
Yep.
We paid $44 million, and now we're looking at 1.7 or 1.8 billion. That's a heady return on investment for 40 years.
Yeah, no, I won't begrudge them for selling it for as much as they can get for it. That's the way the world goes around. But, we do begrudge the fact that they've not put the sort of money into this team that they promised over and over again, especially when the stadium was built. So, but I'm not going to just sit here and grind old axes. Goodbye, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya, sell the team, and I'm excited because anyone that comes in and buys a professional sports franchise isn't going to come in on the cheap. They're going to come in and want to win and spend some money. Yeah. And let's get on to the next thing. But I am, just to honor this dude, play this audio one more time.
I'm not doing anything wrong. People protest. What am I doing? This is not your property. Take videos.
No, stop.
Who says protesting doesn't work? That's it right there. That's what the Pohlads went. We lost him. We lost him. We've lost him. No, you lost even the TV people were bad-mouthing you. Yeah. When people in ties start bad-mouthing you on the TV.
That's a pretty rough one right there.
Well, anyway.
Hey, you know what? Hope springs eternal. Let's get some new fresh blood in here. Let's get some payroll. Let's boost that payroll and let's get a winning team back on the field. 92KQRS is presenting Iron Maiden October 22nd at the XL Energy Center. You can get tickets at 92KQRS.com. Tim Slagle, a very, 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 very funny gentleman. Next, hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Friday, October the 11th, and our buddy Tim Slagle is in studio with us. Tim is at Acme this weekend for the Crash and Burn comedy show. 13th year, is that correct, sir?
Yeah, this is Crash and Burn the 13th.
Crash and Burn is an amazing pressure cooker, fun, everything event. Explain briefly we've talked about this before, but for anybody who doesn't know, explain the concept here.
Well, what I do is I invite 3 other comedians, 3 other national touring headliners. This year we have Emma Willman, Erica Rhodes, who was just I think she made it through 2 rounds on America's Got Talent.
Yeah, she was just here a couple months ago.
Yeah, and Tony Deo. So I invited those 3 comics this year, and what we do is we start Tuesday reading jokes like straight out of our notebook. It has to be material that you've never done on stage before. So it's completely
brand new.
And then we spend the entire week together collaborating, trying to get that 20 minutes into a solid comedy set by Saturday.
How long does it normally take? If I say to you, hey, Tim, you're out, you're doing your thing, you're out touring, working, doing your job. How long do you need generally to come up with 20 new minutes that you feel good about?
I think it took me about 10 years to get my first 20 minutes.
10 years, a little bit more than 5 days.
Yeah, so
which is what this is.
5 days, 7 shows, and it's just been incredible. It's the audiences here at Acme are just so supportive.
Sure.
Is that they're familiar with the concept, and so they're very understanding.
And so it's a bit of a look behind the curtain. You can watch, and it's the kind of show. Do you get repeat people night in? Do you see the same faces? Because I would imagine that's kind of the coolest part. Is if you go on Wednesday and you go on Saturday, you're going to see very different performances.
Yeah. You go, Tuesday. It's actually Tuesday through
Tuesday.
Saturday.
Sorry.
Yeah. We blew out the open mic night this week.
Okay.
Because we needed an extra show.
Nice.
But a lot of people do. They'll come in on Tuesday and then they'll come in on Saturday so that they can see the change. Some people are there almost every night.
That's really cool.
What we do on Thursdays is we allow the audience to stay after the show and sit in with the comics on the writing session.
Wow.
So the audience can actually throw out ideas. Like they can say, I didn't like that bit, or I didn't get that bit.
Really?
That one, yeah. And so that's a really interesting perspective too, because what comics think is funny, the audience doesn't always think is funny, and vice versa. So
no, we've talked with a lot of comedians on the show, and in my life, I've having hung out with a few over the years, and I'm always fascinated by that world. It's an insular world on one hand. Like we were talking the other day, the green room and the stage are two different planets. What goes back when you got your show, you got your bit, you've worked on your material, and you know that's going to kill a crowd. But then when you're in a room where it's just comics, I've had an experience on a couple times to be the fly on the wall, and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
That is such a fascinating, because all you guys are ever doing is looking for the next killer joke. You're looking for that punchline, and you early on accept we got to wade through 500 yards of muck and filth to get to the freedom. It's like you'll go anywhere to chase that joke.
Yeah, and it's to make other comics laugh too. It's extremely hard. And that's a lot of the open mic scene is all comics. There's no civilians, and I saw this. Well, I have to say this. I think I can say it. But there was one comedian, and her closing line, I don't remember the setup. You can make up your own setup. It was just the punchline that wasted me.
All right.
The punchline was a Holocaust in my vagina.
Yeah. Okay.
And the comics went nuts.
Yeah.
And
crickets from the civilians.
And I'm sure she's thinking, because she was a new comic, I'm sure she's thinking she's a genius because she cracked up all the comics. I can't imagine when she decides, when she gets a gig at the Rotary Club and decides to close with that line and wonder why they're all staring
might
at
go
her.
a little differently. Tim Slagle's in studio with us. Acme Comedy Club, the Crash and Burn comedy show, as we said, the 13th year. I'm so blown away by this, and I do look at it like if you put a bunch of comedians in a room, it's no different than put 6 guys with guitars and they're just having a jam session, and it's a bit of, let me show you what I got, let me show you what I'm working on, and now let me blow your mind with this. And it's just that same sort of, it is competitive, but it's also collaborative at the same time.
Well, yeah, and the difference is when you're musicians, you're used to playing in a band, so you're kind of know the rules, you know the game, you know the structure of the song. This is complete, because we're all solo. Usually we're solo. We're introverts. We leave us alone. We're just in our own minds. So it's really nice to actually stick that together, because we all have different styles, and to try to write a joke in someone else's style to help them move that towards the funny is a great experience.
Let me ask you this, Tim, because you mentioned Erica Rhodes, who was just on America's Got Talent. She was here in studio with us. I don't think that she had been on. I think her first appearance had happened, and she wasn't out. She couldn't explain. She couldn't tell us what was about to happen. Like, we didn't know how long she was going to last. But I watched those performances, and she went over really well, and it was really great. Have you ever done anything? Have you done TV things like that? Were you ever did you do Last Comic Standing or any of that at any time in your career? I'm just curious about the different mindset you have to go in to a TV show as opposed to a comedy club.
Yeah, I didn't make it very far in Last Comic.
Okay.
I was one of the first comics out.
Okay. All right. That's a bad first comic walking is what they call that.
Yeah, they did not. It was kind of funny. It just I go in and do my. How can you 3 minutes? That's what they give you. They give you 3 minutes.
That's what I was getting at. That's what I'm getting at. You don't have to. There's no setup. There's no warm up. There's no read the room. It's just like.
I don't even think I got a minute out before they said, "Okay, you're done. You go away."
Really?
And then I'm going out, and they said, "Do you want to come into the confessional?" And it's like, what?
Oh man!
Like no. And they go, well, why not? And I go, well, because he just said that I'm not right for the show. Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, but you have to go in the confessional. I go, no, I don't.
No. Wow. I wasn't here long enough to do anything I got to confess.
And then they got the earpiece there. They got the radio, the transmitter in the earpiece. He doesn't want to go in the confessional. Well, he has to go in the confessional, does he?
Don't let him leave.
Weird. No, you have to go in the confessional. No, pay me.
Yeah, right. Man, just the term confessional, it'll trigger so many, all of us who grew up going to confession. It's just like, oh my God, you kicked me off a TV show, and now this is both parts of my life on display.
Yeah, it's Mary Mack. You know Mary Mack?
Oh, yeah.
Mary Mack went into the confessional. It was so funny. She went into the confessional.
I bet that was.
And she started singing hymns. You can hear her from the outside of the confessional. She was singing hymns in there.
That's absolutely fantastic. Tim, how much are you traveling these days? After this weekend, what's next? I mean, how many dates a year are you still on the bounce?
I'm going into the Christmas party season, so I'm just going to be running around the city doing.
Oh, good. And I
Christmas
say still because you're 30 plus years into this at this point, aren't you?
Yeah, more than that.
More than that.
I don't like to say usually, but 45 is actually I hit my 45th anniversary. My
Congratulations!
First time.
Hey man, that's a freaking badge of honor to me. That's incredible.
Yeah, to actually be such a failure for 45 years and still stick with it is amazing.
Hey man, stick to itiveness. The greatest ability is availability, and you're keeping the knees in shape. You're still able to get up and go. That's great.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I did a Christmas party last year and it didn't go well, and I realized it's like I'm older than everyone in this room because when they get to be my age, they retire.
Yeah, that's we have conversations about it. Zepp and I were just discussing like retirement or retirement planning or we'll do that later. It's the kind of thing we you look up one day and go, I wasn't paying attention to anything anybody told me. Huh. Wow, I'm still like that 9th grade biology student. It just went right in one ear and not even got close to the other.
I'm falling back on decades of smoking. My vices are my retirement plan, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got a big jar of Xanax.
Whatever it takes. So the Christmas party scene, though, I mean, on the one hand, I would imagine, so you have a party, you're like, oh, I'm older than all these people. But sometimes they got to, if they turn the corner, they got to be an absolute blast, too. Like it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, no, it can be, they can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, you're the outsider and you're infringing on their Christmas party. It says, who invited this? So I thought he retired last year.
Yeah. Well, Christmas party, what, you guys aren't all sick of each other? You don't want me here to lighten the mood? What the hell kind of job is this? Crash and Burn Comedy Show. It's at Acme through tomorrow night. It's just the coolest thing in the world to me. 5 nights, comedians polishing their material. I totally dig it. It's always a pleasure to have you. Sit right there.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.